Hello. Welcome to Lazy Ninja BAS. As I said in my earlier video, I have been creating a Tridium Niagara Solution tool. I'll be demonstrating the tool in this video. Please find the link below in the description if you're interested in the tool. So let's get at it. So this is the spreadsheet tool I've been working on for such a long time right now. So as I said, this is a spreadsheet tool which has three tabs: J's, Supervisor, and Bill of Material. I'm just going to give you an overview at first with what and all this tool has. So the J's tab would have all your controller details of which are communicating our BACnet IP, which are communicating our Modbus, how many JSONs there are there any third-party JSONs that you're integrating into your supervisor, the total number of J's and what the J's has, and once you move further on to the supervisor, what the supervisor should be based on the number of JSONs and the controllers you have here in the architecture. This is self-calculated. It gives you an option. This is the optimum supervisor that you need to have to run a sufficient system with the licenses and everything included for the architecture you have here. And this would be the bill of material to overall solution which you obtain from these two tabs of JSON and the supervisor. The prices here right now, I have the vendor cost which I have with me. This can be modified according to whatever vendor tie-ups you have or the manufacturers you are using. Once you get interested in the tool, go down to the description in the video, fill out a form, send it out to me, and we can work out the pricing and the other things. I can show you further on this one how to modify and all of these ones. So let's start off with a basic solution where we don't have any JSONs in the building. All we have is BACnet IP controllers which are having around few points. So to start off, let's put a job name of this one to be solution tool, job number random 1233 or something, designer name, the lead name who is looking at the system. Then there is a drop down for a region if you want it to be USA or others. So this is based on where you have your job on. If you select US, you're going to see a product for the J's. This is purely based on what the J's has to be. It has to be US based or it has to be international. So you're gonna see this once we select the J's. For now, we don't need this. So let's consider a total quantity of 5 from the drop down, which are the BACnet IP controllers communicating directly to the supervisor. Let's consider 1,000 points which are coming from these 5 controllers. And once you put on these ones, let's go what the supervisor actually has to be for this simple scenario right here. Now you'll see the supervisor to be SUP0, which says supervisor with 0 Niagara networks, because you don't have any JSONs here. So this would be SUP0, and the device pack which it has considered is SUP device 25 based on it says 25 field device pack, but how licensing works is based on points for these ones. So we considered 1,000 points here in the J's tab of 5 controllers, throw in 1,000 points. You're gonna see here with respect to that 1250 points is more than enough to contain 1,000 points. And you're gonna see a mandatory maintenance which is included for SUP0 SMA initial mandatory maintenance. So you're gonna select how many number of supervisors you need. Now once you click here, see the tooltip which I've created for a better use of the end user or whoever is using the tool. So this gives you what needs to be input here. It says number of supervisor to be selected based on site requirement. So I'm just going to consider one single supervisor for now. So this says one supervisor here, one device pack, and one initial maintenance. Even though this one says one, this is a false statement right here, which is given. Now, why this says false, I'm going to explain you that. If you don't want an initial mandatory maintenance for these ones, you're just gonna have to input another maintenance. There has to be a maintenance contract or service agreement, which a software agreement has to be considered with respect to supervisor. So let's say you don't want an initial mandatory, which is for 18 months, but you're considering 3 years of maintenance. You're going to see 3 years maintenance considered, and once you come down here, this is going to vanish away. So if you go into the bill of material, you're going to see one supervisor 0 with the cost, one device pack which is of 25, and one 3-year maintenance. And if you come down, the 0 maintenance here is nil and been voided. So this is how the tool works. This was with a simple solution what we had here. Now I'm gonna delete this. Let's start off with a real example where we have everything in the building, every possible scenario that we can think of. So let's have the job name and everything same. Let's go on to a step by step. So the first column is how many backnet controllers do you have. I'm gonna select I have 5 backnet IP controllers talking directly to supervisor, not to Jace. So I'm gonna put in 1000 points coming from those. Now we have Modbus IP controllers. Let's say I'm gonna select 5 more of Modbus IP, which gives me say just 50 points from there. And we have J's backnet IP, which is the number of backnet controllers coming to JS, and then JS is talking to supervisor over backnet. So once you click on this, see the tooltip says do not enter any value here. Value is entered under the number of J's to supervisor through backnet would appear here. So you don't have to enter any value. Even if you try to enter anything, this is a protected sheet and protected cell. So it throws an error, you cannot make any changes, so you cannot mistakenly do nothing wrong in these ones. You have to enter approximate total number of points token from Jace to supervisor or backnet IP. We're gonna circle back to this one later on once we do the whole Jace thing, and then it makes some sense what you're going to put in here. Now, if you are not providing Jace, there are some third-party Jaces being provided in the building. You're just integrating with them. So you want to select the number of Jaces you are integrating to the supervisor. I'm just gonna select 3 Jaces for now. You don't have to worry about the points here for now. Now let's consider the total number of Jaces. Say the quantity is 0. Once you click on this, says do not enter any values. So we're gonna move on to the next one. So you're just gonna click on this, and it says will the Jace communicate over Fox protocol to the supervisor, or will that be backnet? So this is for Fox protocol. I'm gonna say yes, there is a Jace communicating over Fox protocol. It is going to ask you how much quantity are there. I'm gonna select one single Jace which is talking over Fox protocol. So once we move on, this is gonna ask are there any Jace communicating over backnet IP. I'm gonna say yes, and it asks for the quantity. Now if you select the quantity, I'm gonna select 1 here. So remember I told you this is gonna appear here once you select the number of quantities you want to select here. So this is 1 and this is 1 right here. So you don't have to worry about this and this. These are self-calculative, required for the calculation. The pass applied to the nearest the J's, will that be from a transformer, or will you be taking any adapter for those JSs. I'm going to select just S. With that, I'm going to power the JSs from the nearest transformer within the panel where JS would be equipped in. Now remember this product here, once we come into the J selection, this is blank. Do not enter any value region to be selected here. So we forgot to select region of what the JS has to be. I'm going to select US for now. So my part number would be JS 8000 US with a quantity of 2. Just to reflect to whatever we have done right now, let's say we have selected 2 JSs, 3 third-party JSs and few other controllers. Let's see how the bill of material looks for now. So you have 2 JSs selected. We have supervisor with 10 Niagara nodes. I'm going to come back to this one, why it selected 10. So once you come back to the JS, fill out these things, we can go further on how it got selected and why not. So another recommendation here for you guys while you're using the tool is, if you're bringing in number of JSs, let's say these are just two number of JSs which I've selected. Let's say you have 4 JSs communicating over BACnet, 1 communicating over Fox. This is going to bring on your list instantaneously of whatever or how many JSs you have. You might have to just note which J's are communicating over BACnet. Just make a note somewhere here, this is BACnet and this is Fox. So it would be easy for your calculation to put in the approximate number of points which is finally required for the calculation of your supervisor. So for now we're just going with 1 single J's in Fox and 1 single J's in the BACnet. So I'm going to take off this one. Let's consider JS1 to be Fox protocol, JS2 to be communicating over BACnet IP protocol. Now, as you guys know, JS comes with its own IO modules, which can be IO16 or IO34. So this is a calculation where these two IO modules are powered from internally from JS, which is 15 volt DC. There are restrictions to number of IOs used in one singular JS channel. So this calculation is, if you consider the IO16 to be a maximum of 16 which are being used, then you cannot consider any 34. So this is not going to let you any values or any IO34 to be considered. So if you're going to consider say 9 number of these, the maximum number of 34s you can have is 3. So this is a calculated as per the consumption what we have, and this is going to give you the maximum number of IOs which you can have. The requirement here is you have to input the number of IO16s first. You cannot go the other way around, taking IO34s to the number of whatever you want and then coming back to IO16. It has to be sequential with IO16. Let's consider 2 numbers of IO16 I can have, and I can have a maximum of 7 numbers in IO34. So I'm going to select 2 of these and 2 of these for now. And then comes the number of devices to be discovered. This has to be a cumulative amount of the number of BACnet IP controllers we are communicating to the JS, the number of LAN controllers, BACnet MSTP controllers, to whatever you have. So this has to be filled in later on after you finalize the number of MSTP or the LAN controllers which you are going to use. So I'm gonna put in the MSTPs first. So as you know, JS comes with 2 inbuilt RS-485 ports. So the basic thumb rule to have on the MSTP for us is, or what I practice is, 30 devices per channel. And I'm gonna consider right now of these devices to be, let's say I go over to a number of say 90 devices with these. So what happens is 30 channels or 30 devices consume one single channel. So I'm going beyond that. So it is going to need an additional RS485 channel. So it is going to include another module for that. So what happens when it considers another module is you're gonna get reduced with the number of LAN you can add into another channel. Uh, so what happens here is if you have 90 devices in the backnet MSTP, you're utilizing two channels which are inbuilt, and you're adding another module. So the maximum number of devices you can select in LAN is 30. So once you select this, you see a 485 selected is 1, a LAN selected is 1. Let's say if I drop down this to just 60, which is I'm using only the inbuilt ones, it is not selecting another additional 485 module here, but you can increase your quantity of LAN to 90, which makes it to number 3. So this calculation is based on a restriction which is imposed on the device. So this is a data sheet or a cut sheet which is of JS which we have, and you can see the number of the modules which you can have. If you have one 485 module, the number of uh, the modules in the LAN which you can have is according to the expansion list which has been given here. So that's the calculated value which you can see here. It won't let you exceed the number of devices. So for now, what I'm going to do is consider the inboard uh, ports which can contain 60, and I'm going to extend my LAN to make it to a maximum of 90, which considers 3 LAN modules additionally to be considered. Now these two included which we have is 150. Now we're gonna put in 150 devices of these two and consider whatever IP controllers you have. Let's say we have another additional 10 IP controllers which are communicating to this chase. So the total of these ones will have to be 170 here. I'm sorry, 160 here, based on the number of devices we got. And the number of points which you get here is based on, so the thumb rule for the points is to what the license and everything is considered is one single device can have 50 points. Now you might say, hey, the IP controllers can have more than 50 points. That can go beyond that. So how it evens out is the MSTP controllers or the LAN controllers, which might be a small room controller or a VAV controller, you while you're building graphics, you don't have to get all the points which you have in the program to be brought into the JS. So you're going to bring only the number of points which you're going to show on the graphic. Let's say you're bringing 10 points from the VAVs, from each VAVs, and probably 80 points from the other IP controllers or from other room controllers. So that's going to even out to a number of points here, which is 8,000, which should be more than sufficient for 160 controllers you're considering. So this likewise, we're going to do the same thing here. Now you see what happened here was you saw the number of devices once you consider the points came in. Now we considered a core software of NC 8200, which is 200 devices which is contained within this self. Once you go beyond that, let's say you go, now I have more controllers, I'm going to go to 180. They're still going to stay here because 180 is already covered within the 200 device. So you're going to you can have as many as you want within this software package. So this is calculative based on price based on number of devices, which is optimum. You can add additional device pack, and you can say I don't want this, I'm gonna do 100 and then go to a device pack, but that would make your cost go higher. So instead you can go to 200, you can have a spare of another 40 controllers and be done with it. So this is how it works out. Let's say I do the same to the backend controller here. I'm not gonna select any of the IO modules for these ones. I'm just gonna say I have almost 180 backnet MSTP controllers coming in, and this is going to say all the number of, sorry, the number of LAN controllers can be selected is 30. So it's gonna select two of these and one of these. So one single module can have two ports of 485, which gives you 30 per channel, which is almost 180 with inbound RS-485 considered. Now these two collectively has 210 here, so you're gonna put in the number of devices to be 200. So this is a hypothetical situation where you can have, I'm just gonna restrict this to only the backend MSTP and not consider the LAN here. So you have 180 MSTP controllers and another 20 backnet IP controllers, which makes it to even 200. The number of points you have is 10,000 on this one, which should be more than sufficient for 200 core software here. So that's almost about what we have, everything segregated here. Let's move on to supervisor now. So supervisor right now selected supervisor with 10 Niagara networks, which says it can have up to 10 JSONs. So the number of JSONs we selected here were 3, which were third party, and 2 JSONs which we were providing as ours. So it still has 5 more J's which can be selected here. Now the option, if you see, you could have either went to supervisor 3 and upgraded it with a station 5B here, which I'm pretty sure this would have been expensive than what you have here at 10. So I'm not gonna bug down to the detail of how much the cost was. I know for a fact that I designed this based on the cost, making sure that it is not going to exceed what this and this cumulative of this price would be. So it considered a supervisor with 10 Niagara networks. It considered a device pack of 25 with 1250 points. So here is the deal why it considered 25, because we did not input the number of backnet approximate points here to consider more number of device packs to be included into the J's. Now say if it was talking over backnet IP with this backnet J's talking over 10,000, you're gonna have to put in 10,000 points right here, to which this says, oh, I'm exceeding beyond 1250, which was originally these two, and then get it changed to 500, which has 25,000 points. So you're gonna have a total of 11,050, to which this one is giving you 25,000 points. Now I'm not gonna take 3 years. I'm just going to retain the supervisor with in the initial maintenance, and let's see how the bill of material got generated. So we have 2 JSONs selected, which is from these two, which we are providing. Now there are 2 IO modules selected, 2 IO34 selected, 3 LAN modules selected, to which we have generated from here, which is these 3, and 2 RS-485 additional modules selected, which is for JS2. Now the core device which we really have here is 2, which is 2 JSONs, and maintenance contract what we have considered for these 2 J's is initial maintenance contract of 2 of SMA to 8200. And coming to Supervisor, we have Supervisor 10 with a device pack of 500 and a maintenance contract which is of 18 months, which is mandatory. And that's about how the tool works. Hope you guys enjoyed how or got interested how things work, and this would be easy tool for your work. Hope this helps in your day-to-day basis while you guys are doing the estimation or building an architecture for a specific job, and this will work out easy for you guys. I'm reiterating this again. If you guys are interested, there's a link in the description which you can use to reach out to me, and then we can further move on with this to utilize the tool more and more. Please input your suggestions in the comments. Please share the video if you like. If any recommendations on the tool or on the video, please do give your recommendations in the comment section below. Thanks guys. It's been a joy giving this to you guys.